Hi, good morning, everyone. So, as the world continues to chase weight loss, fad diet programs, and fad nutritional programs, and yet people continue to struggle with their weight loss goal, we need to change the approach at which we look at weight loss. We need to change our mindset that we have and our beliefs that we have in regards to weight loss. So, today, what I want to talk about is the connection between eating with guilt and weight loss. If you eat with guilt, that could be the biggest obstacle that's coming in between you and your body losing weight. And today we're going to understand exactly how this connection works. Because just too many people, and although I consult with, with different countries across the world, the one standout that I see amongst Indians living in India and also expat Indians living in other countries is their poor relationship towards food. We have a poor relationship with food. We tend to label foods as good, bad, horrible, fatty foods, foods that make you fat, foods that absolutely not, that's going to make me fat. We have such a poor relationship with food. And now let's move back from a poor relationship with food to a poor relationship in any aspect of life. When you have a poor relationship with someone, be it your boss, be it your spouse, be it your girlfriend, boyfriend, kid, or whoever it is, when you have a poor relationship, you have poor energy. You don't feel good in a poor relationship. There are always negative feelings. You don't feel good about yourself. Your immunity is on the lower side always, because we all know that negative emotions tend to weigh down on your immunity. So what happens is when you have a poor relationship with anything, it's not the ideal situation. It's not the ideal way of living. And when it's not ideal, it's also not ideal for your digestion, for the way that your hormones function, for the way that your mind functions and your body functions. It impacts your sleep, the way that you move, the way that you eat, everything. So we need to first change our relationship with food. If you label something as bad, let's talk about a good piece of chocolate cake. We've all enjoyed it while growing up. We like it. Most of us like it. And now if we label a chocolate cake or a piece of chocolate cake or an ice cream for that matter as something that's bad or something that's going to have a bad impact on your weight and your health, guess what? Subconsciously, every time you eat that piece of chocolate cake or that ice cream, it's going to behave exactly that way in your system. It is going to be difficult for you to digest it, and it is going to make you fat. So we need to change our mindset and our belief system, our attitude system, and the way we think and the way we relate to food. I can promise you one thing. Your body has the intelligence to break down a bit of ice cream. It has the intelligence to break down chocolates that you eat. It has the intelligence to break down junk. It has all of that intelligence. At the same time, if we overdo it, if we overeat all of the bad stuff, your body also has the intelligence to break it down and manage it and store it the right way to ensure that your body continues surviving or doing what it needs to do. So if it needs to take some of the bad fats and store it away in your body, because you can't have bad fat roaming around in your bloodstream because that produces triglycerides, bad cholesterol, and that can lead to strokes and everything else. So your body is also very intelligent, and it knows how to handle even the bad stuff that you eat until we start eating too much of it. Anyway, today what we're going to understand is, let me give you a quick example. I've given this so many times before, and we need to keep drilling it into our heads. Look at the Swiss. The Swiss eat on an average 6 to 8 pieces of chocolate every single day. And I'm not talking dark chocolate. They enjoy milk chocolate. But they've grown up with that. They've grown up with that, and their body adapts to it completely well. They have a good relationship with chocolate, so it doesn't impact them. Now, if they had the same relationship that we have, that, every piece of chocolate is going to make me put on weight, then that's exactly what's going to happen. Look at the French community. They have butter in almost all of their meals, and they enjoy desserts and sugar and everything else, but they truly enjoy what they eat, which means in their mind, they don't believe that that kind of food is going to make them sick or fat, and they do everything in moderation. We tend to overeat. If you compare Indian portions with European or especially French portions, we tend to eat a lot more in lesser time. We eat a whole Indian meal in 10 minutes or 15 minutes. They eat 6 to 7 courses of food over a period of 1 to 1.5 hours. So now, when you think about food, we need to understand that your human body, everyone's human body, has two nervous systems. One is your sympathetic nervous system and one is your parasympathetic nervous system. And I need each and every one of you to understand how this works today, because then you are going to understand the impact of stress on your weight, the impact of stress on the way that your body breaks down on your food, and how when you eat food or desserts without stress, you will not put on weight. So you have your sympathetic nervous system and you have your parasympathetic nervous system. Now, your body cannot be in two nervous systems at the same time. You can either be in your sympathetic nervous system, which is your fight or flight response, when your body is actually reacting to stress, or you can be in your parasympathetic nervous system, which is your feed and breathe or your rest and digest nervous system. So in your parasympathetic system, you're either feeding yourself or you're breathing, which means you're digesting, or you are resting and digesting food. So let's take a stressful situation like, let's go back to the time of evolution where you're running away from a tiger. You can either be in the fight or flight response, and at that point you're either running or you're fighting, but you cannot be resting and digesting. That's why the human body's intelligence is to separate these two nervous systems. And when you're resting and digesting, you cannot be in the fight or fight response, which means you should not be in a stressful situation. Which is why when we eat food under a stressful situation, everything goes wrong. You have indigestion, you have flatulence, you put on weight. Your body cannot break down, assimilate nutrients. It stores most of your food as fat, because these two systems cannot work together. Which is why I tell everyone, do not have working lunches. Do not have meetings around lunches or dinners unless it's a non-stressful meeting. You always keep your meal times for yourself, where you can truly enjoy your food and eat it mindfully. Because the moment your cortisol, which is your stress hormone, goes up, it impacts your insulin levels, it impacts your pancreatic juices, your digestive enzymes, the way your body assimilates nutrients, and the way that your body converts carbohydrates, proteins, and fats into energy. So you never eat under stress. So now that comes down again to guilty eating. If you want to eat that ice cream, you truly, truly want that ice cream or that chocolate or that dessert, you want it, eat it. But eat it mindfully and truly enjoy it. Because if you have guilt or resentment that, oh, I've eaten this ice cream, I'm going to put on weight, my 5 days of gymming has gone down the drain, and I need to go onto a detox diet tomorrow, all that stress, all that resentment, all that guilt produces cortisol. Cortisol is a stress hormone. When you're constantly stressed or you have all this guilt-related or emotional stress, where does your body get cortisol from after a point? Your adrenal glands are supposed to pump out cortisol, but because of our high levels of stress today and unnecessary stress, your body very intelligently then converts progesterone, which is a woman hormone, into cortisol. Now, what's the problem with that? You know, estrogen and progesterone work hand in hand. You have high estrogen, you have low progesterone. You have high progesterone, you have low estrogen. And that's the cycle that all women go through before their menses. It's the cycle that women go through before their periods, before premenopause, and during menopause. It's cleverly designed. Every hormone, one goes up, one comes down. One goes down, one goes up. That's how the body's designed to work. Now the problem is, if your body is converting progesterone into cortisol because you have high levels of stress, if your progesterone reduces, guess what goes up? Your estrogen. Now estrogen is a woman hormone. We all, and women need it, men need it too in smaller amounts, but women need it. But the problem is, when you have excess estrogen in your body, you cannot lose weight. You put on weight. You put on weight in your butt area, your hips, your thighs, your abdominal regions, and in some cases your breasts as well. Now the problem with that is fat cells produce excess estrogen. Fat cells also store estrogen. So if your stress levels because of guilt eating or emotional eating or whatever stress you have throughout the day, I'm not talking about acute stress. Acute stress is good for us. We get stressed, we do something about it, your stress levels come down. I'm talking about chronic stress that almost all of us have today. Your body is constantly converting progesterone that you need for other functions in your body, like good sleep, to manage food cravings, for your hormonal health, for the health of your ovaries, for the health of your entire body and immunity. You're deprived of progesterone because your body is converting it into cortisol. Now, all of a sudden, because you have low progesterone, you have high estrogen. What happens when you have high estrogen? Estrogen binds with your thyroxine protein. So if it binds with your thyroxine protein, all of a sudden you have low thyroxine levels, you have low TSH, which is nothing but a hypothyroid situation. And then we have hypothyroid, we take this unnecessary medication for a while, we don't get off the medication because we don't want to change our lifestyle, or we're unaware of how to change our lifestyle so that we can repair our thyroid gland and get off that medication. And we start that vicious cycle, and we constantly struggle to lose weight only because we have a hormonal imbalance. So if you want to eat something, okay, eat it in the right quantity. You don't have to do a supersized ice cream. You don't need to do a supersized dessert. You don't need to do a large piece of cake. Okay, that's greed. You can eat a little bit of it so you're psychologically happy. You don't feel you're in a state of deprivation. Your mind, your body gets whatever it needs, that little bit of sweetness, that food appeal, whatever it is that you call it, and you're happy. And your cortisol levels are down, and you still manage to lose weight the right way. Because I can promise you out there are so many of you watching me right now who are still on restrictive diets, who are still cutting down calories to lose weight, and who are still punishing their bodies with over-exercising and overtraining, and they're getting more depressed and more miserable day by day. Shift. You need to change your mindset from what you knew to what is really correct right now. Eat more if you exercise more, eat less if you exercise less. That is the paradigm of weight loss. And if you want to eat something, eat it in the right proportion and without guilt. If it's going to make you feel bad about yourself, why would you even eat it? So you got to remember the connection between guilt eating, stress, cortisol, progesterone, estrogen. Too many women out there today have more estrogen than required, and that's going to be a whole separate video, because I'm not just bothered about your estrogen connection with weight. I'm bothered about something bigger than that. I'm bothered about the connection between excess estrogen and breast cancer and prostate cancer and ovarian cancer and so many different estrogen dominant cancers, which can be prevented if we reduce our estrogen. And just doing a hysterectomy or removing our ovaries or reproductive systems is not the answer. In some cases, it's necessary, but it's the easy way out. Oh, let me remove my ovaries, let me do a hysterectomy because there's too much estrogen in the body. Guess what? That's not solving the root cause of your problem. And there is no connection between people removing their ovaries and not getting cancer in the future in some other part of their body. So we need to understand that too much of estrogen is a bad thing for women. And this goes to all the women out there who are on birth control pills for unnecessary reasons, or who are using it to treat a symptom and not making lifestyle changes to correct their reproductive system or their PCOS or any other hormonal issue that they have. Estrogen dominance is a big issue and the root cause of many, 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 many diseases, including cancer in men and women. That's a whole separate video. So coming back to summarize this before we cut off for today, the idea is eat everything mindfully, enjoy it. When you're eating, do not be in your fight or flight response, because you're not going to rest or digest or be able to assimilate nutrients. So do not eat when you're stressed. Calm down, take a few deep breaths. The diaphragmatic breathing that I taught you, 10 to 15, will actually move you out of the sympathetic nervous system into the parasympathetic nervous system and prepare you to digest your meal the right way. So what you need to do is enjoy what you eat mindfully. Guilt and resentment are the two poisons that will be the obstacles to your weight loss and will actually manifest a lot of other ailments, diseases, and conditions in your body. Have a good day, everyone. Until next time, eat smart, move more, sleep right, and breathe deep.